Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? You know, yesterday I sent out my video to some family and friend, and they all agreed with me. Of course, they're all my age. The ones that I could send the video to would understand and remember. And all of them said I should make another video on apartheid because they were also of the opinion that everyone is forgetting about it. No one is talking about it. And no one seems to acknowledge and even understand the impact that apartheid had on us. Of course, amongst my friends and associates and colleagues, family, and so on, everyone is bemoaning the good old days of apartheid. They won't say so openly. And when talking to their children, the next generation, even though they are in their 30s, they don't understand. They weren't there. I mean, my sons have asked me on one occasion, could daddy not go to any beach? I said, no, we were only allowed to go to one beach. That was the non-white beach. And black people couldn't come to that beach. They had their own beach. And the rest of the beaches were for white people. There was one so-called colored beach and one so-called black beach. And the rest were for white people. Strange if you think about it today. I mean, today things are the way it's supposed to be. Everybody can just go to any beach, go fish where you want to, swim where you want to, take a walk where you want to. We couldn't even go to any area. If they caught you walking around in a white area, they put you in a van. It happened to me already. It happened to me and a few of my friends. We happened to take a shortcut through a white area and we were stopped. And I was driving, so they never put me in the van. But they put all my friends in the back of the van and they drove us to the police station. They wanted to know what were we doing there late at night. And they couldn't believe that we took a shortcut through the area to go to our area. Today, by the way, that area there are no more white people living in there. I don't know where the white people have gone to, but they all seem to have left. I think they're all moving up the West Coast, slowly but surely. The Western Cape where I live in, it's sort of the white province. There are two big political parties in South Africa today. The ANC, everybody knows, Nelson Mandela's African National Congress. A lot of people won't like the fact that I said that, but I mean, he's passed away and he was the symbol and the head of the ANC at the time. And as the head, he became the president of South Africa, the first black president of South Africa ever. But in addition to the ANC, there's the Democratic Alliance, or the DA, which is the opposition party. And they are the so-called white political party, but there are a lot of black people in that party, but they are all referred to as coconuts, white people with a black skin. But not wanting to become political myself now, I don't like politics, and I don't like politicians, and I don't like the political types, those armchair politicians. Because everyone knows that there's two things that you don't discuss in a social gathering, and religion, and the other one is politics. So I don't want to discuss politics now. I'm just saying things to inform you of the situation in South Africa. And the reason why I'm saying it is because the Western Cape is controlled by the Democratic Alliance. There was a time when the ANC won the Western Cape, but in general, the DA is in control of the Western Cape, the southernmost province in South Africa. In fact, here at the southernmost tip of Africa. And there are actually talks about the Western Cape seceding from the rest of the country and becoming a country on its own. Now, that will never happen because it just can't happen. The ANC government won't allow it. Uh, and there are no ways of doing it. I mean, because to just declare unilaterally that we are separate will mean that they'll send the army in here. And we have no military units. The army, the South African National Defence Force, operates in the Western Cape because we are part of South Africa. But it would be nice if we could break away and do our own thing. I mean, there's one thing that white people know how to do, and that's how to rule. They just have it in them. It's part of their culture. They do it properly all over the world. Not that they are also not corrupt, but they have their checks and balances in place. And I don't know, they seem to be born to be ruled. And most people want to be ruled by them. They have the ability to think about other people. They might treat you like a second class citizen, but now we know. Now we know because we people my age can see and we can compare what things are like. We had rule under the white man and now we have rule under the black man. Two are very different. It's like black and white. That's how different it is. If we look at the uh, power supply front, in other words, the energy supply to the country, we have a national parastatal called ESCOM. They supply us with electricity. We have one nuclear power station in the country, which happens to be in the Western Cape. And ever since the ANC took over, we've gone to the point where we've reached what is called stage six load shedding, which is no electricity for 12 hours. In other words, half a day there is no electricity. It's of course in four stages of on and off for the day. But in total, if you add it up, it comes to exactly 12 hours of electricity and 12 hours of no electricity. And don't forget, for quite a few of those hours, we actually fast asleep. So it's terrible. It's destroying small businesses. It's wreaking havoc with the economy, and no one seems to care. And the only reason why it's happening is because there is uncontrolled corruption from the top. And to put it plain and simply, is the stealing of money that goes to building and maintenance. So there's no maintenance happening. And now, after more than 2 decades of this going on, the things are falling apart. Pipes are bursting, motors are conking in, everything's falling apart. Coal station after coal station goes offline because of malfunction or just falling into disrepair. And on the other hand, on the bottom side of things, people are stealing stuff. The coal-fired, our majority of our power stations are coal-fired power stations, like in so many places of the world. And they're stealing the coal, or they're selling uh, extremely low quality coal because they steal the good quality coal and then they replace it with low quality rubbish. And these low quality coal, it's damaging the furnaces and that's creating more problems. I've seen videos of lines, kilometer long lines of coal trucks going across the border. They can't, of course, ship it out through the harbor because the harbor is not working properly. That's another thing. I mean, no one seems to be doing anything in South Africa. The harbors, the railways, the hospitals, schools, everything is falling apart. Nothing is being built. It's like there's no one in charge, you know? Things are just ticking over on its own until it peters out into nothing. That's what it looks like. And that's what's actually happening. If you take just ESCOM, the power supply utility, and you look at what's happening to them, that is what's happening to the whole country. Things are slowly petering out, and everybody's having a party because everybody's allowed to do their own thing. And the things that you hear about, I mean, it's crimes that you wouldn't think people would be able to think of. It's disgusting and weird. Of course, like I said, everything isn't bad. So the New South Africa isn't all bad. I mean, being able to go anywhere, being able to work anywhere, being able to talk to anybody, being and not being arrested without any reason. I mean, under apartheid, you could get arrested without a reason. There was no need for them to say on what charge you're being arrested. Now that can't happen anymore. So that fear is not there, you know. But still, you can't. I can't walk out of my front door. I'm in my office at the moment. I can't walk out by my front door. I can, but then I get into my car and drive to the shop. And yet I live in a relatively safe area. But they tried to kidnap somebody in my area. And he shouted and they just shot him in his head, dead. They're able to do that. You can kill somebody with literal impunity. Nobody, nothing came of it. They don't know who did it. No one got charged. They never followed up. And there's no real point in going to the police station and making a case. I mean, people do it to go through the motions, but everyone knows that they're not going to actually find anybody. So I suppose I'm old, so I'm very negative. And the young people who don't know any better, they tend to be a bit more positive, you know, the exuberance of youth. But even they know that security is a big problem and they're always aware of it. In their houses, out on the streets, people can attack you and rant and rave, and there's nothing you can do. There's no protection. Not unless you have a private security company that you can call at your house. There's no point in calling the police. And economically, things are also not looking good. I know globally there's talk of a recession this year, but besides that, I mean, South Africa is much worse off, was badly affected and is being badly affected by ESCOM, the power utility. It creates problems, Shane. Small businesses are badly affected by it. I know of quite a few small businesses who have closed down. People who did sideline businesses closed down. So, yeah, it's difficult to say, but from one year to another year, things are definitely getting worse. But I'm getting a bit too negative now, and I see my time is up, so I'm going to call it quits with today's video. I'll see you sometime. Salam alaikum.